gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Rubber Sports Show in the NCAA Week 7. 6 weeks in the books already, some amazing games, some amazing upsets. Here with my partner Bentley. He wanted to do a video with me, so he can't do the NFL videos with me because Mike Vick's starting, and we all know, Mike Vick's passed, and yeah, my Bentley here doesn't like Michael Vick, so we can't do the NFL games together, so he figured he'd do college with me. So week 7, obviously if you've been following Robert Sports Show, I've been doing a top 25 of my own. Been getting that up before the AP top 25 comes out. Make sure you take a look at that video, and we'll get started here. I got 31 games. We got the original 16 teams I started the season doing, plus the AP top 25, plus any team that with one loss in the FBS. So a lot of teams here we're doing. So let's get started. First game, we have the Auburn Tigers at 3-2 versus the Kentucky Wildcats at 4-1. Auburn's favored by 1. I'm actually taking the Wildcats. I think they'll go to 5-1. It's kind of a interesting SEC matchup here to start on Thursday. So I got Kentucky winning. I'm giving them the 1 point. And I think obviously they're going to win. They're going to cover the 1. So Kentucky upsetting Auburn in Kentucky. Next, we have the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers at 5-1 versus North Texas Mean Green at 0-5. Western Kentucky's favorite by 28. I got them winning and covering. If you take a look at Robert Sports Show, you'll see Western Kentucky in my top 25. Next, we have the 13th ranked UCLA Bruins at 4-1 versus the 15th ranked Stanford Cardinals at 4-1. Pac-12 matchup here. Stanford favored by 5. I got them winning and covering at home. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bearcats at 3-2 versus the BYU Cougars at 4-2. BYU is favored at home by 7. I got them covering and winning. Next, we have the 21st ranked Boise State Broncos at 5-1 versus the Utah State Aggies at 3-2. Boise State is favored by 8.5. I have them winning, but I have Utah State covering at home. Next, we have the 24th ranked Houston Cougars at 5-0 versus the 2-3 Tulane Green Wave. Houston is favored by 16. I get them covering and winning. Next, we have the West Virginia Mountaineers at 3-2 versus the second-ranked Baylor Bears at 5-0. A Big 12 matchup. Baylor's favored by 19. I got them covering at home. One of the top-ranked defenses, 64 points a game. So Baylor winning and covering. Next, we have the Louisville Cardinals at 2-3 versus the 11th ranked Florida State Seminoles at 5-0. Florida State's favored by 8.5. I have them winning and covering. The 17th ranked The Iowa Hawkeyes at 6-0 versus the 20th ranked Northwestern Wildcats at 5-1. Iowa having 2 big wins the last 2 weeks. Last week versus Illinois and the week before versus Wisconsin. 2 Big Ten big wins. Another Big Ten team here who Northwestern Wildcats came off a loss last week. Iowa's favored by 2.5. I have them winning and covering. Really like the Hawkeyes this year. I think they're going to hopefully go far in the Big Ten, maybe a Big Ten championship, or at least championship game. Next, we have the 13th ranked Ole Miss Rebels at 5-1 versus the Memphis Tigers at 5-0. Ole Miss is favored by 10.5. I actually have an upset here. I have Memphis upsetting them. I got Memphis winning by 3. Memphis offense are scoring a few more points, but that Ole Miss Rebels defense is freaking fantastic. But I think hopefully I can see the 5-0 Memphis Tigers at home getting the victory here. Next, we have Eastern Michigan Eagles at 1-5 versus the 22 ranked Toledo Rockets at 5-0. Toledo's favored by 28. I have them winning and covering. The Marshall Thundering Herd at 5-1 versus the Florida Atlantic Owls at 1-4. Marshall's favored by 7-1. I have them winning and covering. Next, we have the Western Michigan Broncos at 2-3 versus Ohio Bobcats at 5-1. Ohio's favored by 3.5. I have them winning and covering. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Panthers at 4-1 versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at 2-4. I actually have Pittsburgh upsetting Georgia Tech here. The line was Georgia Tech by 3.5. I have Georgia Tech by 3. Excuse me. I have Pittsburgh winning, and I give Pittsburgh the 3 points. Next, we have the probably, I guess, one of 2 or 3 games of the week here. We have the 7th-ranked Michigan State Spartans at 6-0 versus the 12th-ranked Michigan Wolverines at 5-1. Michigan is favored by 7 at home. Wow, the Battle of Michigan here. 7 versus the 12. Michigan State has been rolling along. Michigan, after the week 1 loss, I believe it was Wisconsin, they've been just dominant. Their defense has given up 6 points a game. How about that? I didn't go through and I skipped this page on picking winners. How about that? Whew. I'm going with Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan Wolverines, and I didn't cover the 7. Next, we have the 10th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide at 5-1 versus the 9th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. The line is Alabama by 3.5. I am taking the Aggies to win and giving them the 3.5 as an upset. Really, is it really an upset when you're higher ranked but you're not favored at home? So I got Texas A&M beating Alabama, giving them the 3.5. Next, we have the 19th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners at 4-1 versus the Kansas State Wildcats at 3-2. Oklahoma's favored by 4 on the road. I think Oklahoma will win this. I think they'll cover it, but I think the Wildcats will give them a run for it. The Wildcats have been playing strong and just haven't been able to close games out. Next, we have Virginia Tech Hokies at 3-3 versus the Miami Hurricanes at 3-2. Miami's favored by 6.5 at home. I got Miami covering that. Next, we have the Syracuse Orange at 3-2 versus Virginia Cavaliers at 1-4. Virginia's favored by 8.5. I got Syracuse winning, and I got them winning, and I'll go to 3 on that. So I got Syracuse winning by 3. Next, we have the the New Mexico Aggies at 0-5 versus the Georgia Southern Eagles at 4-1. Georgia Southern's favored by 26. I got them winning and covering at home. Next, we have the 3rd-ranked TCU Horned Frogs at 6-0 versus the Iowa State Cyclones at 2-3. TCU is favored by 18. I get them winning and covering. Next, we have the Boston College Eagles at 3-3 versus the 5th-ranked Clemson Tigers at 5-0. Clemson's favored by 15.5 at home. I got them winning and covering. The 8th-ranked Florida Gators 6-0 minus their quarterback who was suspended for PEDs versus the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers at 5-0 in Death Valley without their quarterback. Starting quarterback. I don't think Florida's backup QB is anywhere close to what their starter is, so I have LSU winning by 7.5 and covering here in Death Valley. Next, we have the Appalachian State Mountaineers at 4-1 versus the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks at 1-4. Appalachian State's favored by 9.5. I got them winning and covering. Next, we have the USC Trojans minus their head coach at 3-2 versus the 14th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 5-1. At home, Notre Dame is favored by 3. They win and cover. Next, I have the Missouri Tigers at 4-2 coming off their loss to Florida versus the Georgia Bulldogs at 4-2. Georgia's favored by 16 at home. I got the Bulldogs are winning and the Missouri Tigers are covering. Next, we have the UCF Knights at 0-6 versus the Temple Owls at 5-0. Temple is favored by 18.5 at home. I've been winning and covering. Upset alert! Upset alert! Upset alert! We have the Penn State Nittany Lions at 5-1 versus the number 1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes at 6-0. Ohio State is favored by 17 at home. Upset alert! Upset alert! I'm calling the upset here. I think Penn State is playing out of their mind right now. Big Ten matchup here. If Penn State can go into Ohio and beat the Buckeyes, hopefully Penn State is on their way back from all the almost death sentence they got a few years ago. So I got the Nittany Lions upsetting Buckeyes. I got Penn State by 3. I guess Bentley didn't like that. He got up and left. He's not really a big upset kind of fan. He kind of likes to go with the flow. Next, we have the Arizona Wildcats at 4-2 versus the Colorado Buffaloes at 3-3. Arizona's favored by 7. I got them winning and covering. The Arizona State Sun Devils 4-2 versus the 4th-ranked Utah Utes at at 5-0. Youth. 5-0. Utah Youth are favored by 6.5. I've been winning and covering. Next, and last but not least, we have the Oregon Ducks at 3-3 versus the Washington Huskies at 3-2. Ooh, Washington's favored by 2 at home. I actually got the Ducks winning on the road. I'll give them the 2 points. So those are the 31 games I'm going over this week. Last week I went 17-8 win-loss, 11-14 against the spread. So year to date, after 6 weeks, I am 101-32 in win-loss, 47-73 against the spread. And when I was finding over-unders early in the season, that was 24-17. My 4 playoff teams that I had predicted in the very first week was Ohio State, currently 6-0 and ranked number 1. TCU, currently 6-0 and ranked number Trace. Alabama, currently 5-1 and ranked 10th. And then I also picked the Oregon Ducks, who are currently 3-3. Hey, 3 out of 4 is not horrible. So that will wrap up week 7 of the NCAA season previews. As always, check out all 5 of Robert Sports Show channels. Robert Sports Show for your MLB playoff previews. Robert Sports Show 2 for your NASCAR Chase for the Championship previews. Robert Sports Show 3 for all your pro wrestling needs, the WWE Hell in a Cell preview and review, a Roberts 10 Undertaker matches, and a Roberts 10 coming soon Hell in a Cell matches, and a Roberts 10 Dream matches. Robert Sports Show 4, all your NFL needs. NFL week number 6 coming tomorrow. Week number 5 already up. Take a look at that. And Robert Sports Show 5 for all your NCAA football needs. And then come March Madness, all your NCAA March Madness previews. And for any NASCAR fans out there, once the NASCAR season is over with on Robert Sports Show 3, you will see 2 videos a week. A Roberts 10 and or champion profile from the last race, from the season finale at Homestead until the Daytona 500. Every week, 2 videos, champions profile and or possibly 2 champions profiles some weeks and Roberts 10s of NASCAR based. So like 16 weeks